It is time for your first camping trip. Where to go, what to do. Oh my God! I remember when I first started out, I was like, I had no idea. All I knew was that there were campgrounds. Like whenever you're driving on the road, there's a sign, campground. But how did you get to them? How do you know what you want to stay at? So my first trip was actually a very safe trip. There's something called Harvest Host. Basically, you can stay 24 hours anywhere, and all they ask is that you become a patron of their farm or store or whatever they have, which I found it was comforting and it was safe. So when I pulled into Bentlim Farms, which is this amazing farm with llama and alpaca and pigs and goats and lambs and chickens, really cool people, really cool place. And I fell in love with the alpacas. They're my spirit animal. I love them. They're like little children and old men all at once. They're just curious and wise at the same time. They came up to me and then like just bounced up like a dancer and took off after they had like studied enough of me with these curious eyes. I loved it. They were amazing. And I did buy stuff I bought this from their store. It's an alpaca. And I bought a chicken too. So I was really happy to buy from that store. The next one I stayed at, I bought a bottle of bourbon. That was good. And the very first one I stayed at actually wasn't Bentlip Farms. I was going up to a balloon festival in upstate New York. I was meeting one of my friends from the ProMaster site. He had like advised me on some things. So we were good friends. So I met them at the balloon festival and I found a place on Harvest Host that was fairly close. That's the downside of Harvest Host. You're not always going to find a place where you want to be, whether it's on your way to somewhere else. You don't want to drive out of your way just for a one-night stay where you have to spend 20 to 50 bucks in their store. But anyway, I digress. So I get to this place. It's a maple syrup place. I buy the maple syrup. It was really good. The guy directs me to where the camping spot is, and it was really lovely. But it was like the whole experience was kind of weird for me because I slept in the van for the first time. I didn't sleep with the doors open because I was in some strange place that I didn't know. There's so much you don't know when you're new and you don't know. But I did graduate from Harvest Host to Campgrounds. I'm making friends with the other campers. It's really kind of nice. And there are horses everywhere. They came by the campsite. They were right next to my van. Hi, baby. And Bear was barking. I just went for the most amazing bike ride on the beach. I'm stumbling like crazy and a little nervous for Bear. For me, I don't want to fall and hurt him. I picked up this little guy in Mississippi. Oh my God, it was so hot. The day I left, it was 111 degrees. I learned of Recreation.gov. It has all the Army Corps of Engineer campgrounds. They're gorgeous. I'm at one right now. The lake is right there. I've been here before. I launched my kayak there. I cooked dinner right on the rocks at the waterline. It was 100 degrees, so I suffered. But it was really fun. Simple times are the best because my life at home is not simple at all. I'm not even going to talk about the stuff I'm dealing with. So having simple fun and simple moments was really what it was all about. The first boondocking moments were, boondocking is a job. I mean, the coordinates that were on iOverlander for this spot were not accurate. I practically ended up in somebody's backyard. How do you boondock? Everyone would say it's BLM lands, Bureau of Land Management. Okay, how do you find it? Oh, there's maps. It's just on the map. Okay, so you have this map with like the entire state of something being practically all BLM lands. So how do you find where you want to go? And me being the girl looking for lakes, it was a little more difficult. So I decided I had to devise a plan on how to boondock that would work for me. So once I had my route, I put it in Google Maps, and then I kept like expanding along it looking for lakes. And as soon as I found a lake, I got the coordinates, the map coordinates. You copy them and you're going to paste them in iOverlander. So then I started finding, when I put the coordinates in iOverlander, I saw there were camping spots at these places. And then you can like look at the page on iOverlander, and the people that stayed there before tell you what it's like. They tell you if there's internet, cell service actually is what they tell you. And, you know, they post pictures, so you can totally tell if you're going to like it. And there was these two men there camping, and they look like Rip Van Winkle. They looked like they had been there like for 10 years, these long beards. And another thing, like when you're boondocking in places like that, you want to respect the other campers. You don't want to infringe on their space. You want to act with grace and kindness and consideration. And I was very kind, and I was saying, I'm going to go over there. I forget what I did. I shouldn't have asked him if it was okay with him. But boy, he snapped back and said, no, if you want to know what I have to say, you should leave. But then this two families arrived the next day. I parked way over where I couldn't see him, and they were fine. They just like rotted in the soil in their two little pup tents. But this family arrived, two families with like all these kids, and they were running back and forth to the lake, and they had the whole campfire going, and they were like right butted up next to these two men, and the two men ended up leaving. So with each stop, as I used the system I had worked out, with each stop, I gained more and more confidence. That stop that I'm telling you about had this really steep hill to get out, and it rained like the night before. The two families and me both had the same concern, like, are we going to be able to get out of here? So he went first, and he got out and I got out. I kind of thought I would get out, but I arrived at this one also in North Dakota, and they had this little tent pad that you could park on that was set up right by the water. There was a fishing dock. Then there was a beautiful courtyard with picnic tables and trees. You know that this was like a weekend spot, because if you went up this giant hill, there was an entire campground and a church. So you can bet that on a Sunday afternoon, there were people having picnics and all kinds of stuff. These are gifts to the local people, and we get the privilege to experience them as well. I stayed at another place that was really cool. It was in a little town. All along the lake, there were places that people boondock. And the first one I pulled into had a really, really bad road. And it was crazy windy. Crazy windy. We keep getting 30-mile-an-hour winds, which could topple a van. So I have taken my compass and put it like center line of the van and found northwest, which is where the winds supposedly are going to be coming from when they hit 30. And it's going to hit the nose of the van and just not tip us over. But before that, boy, you could feel it. I mean, when you're perpendicular to the wind and you're a big monstrosity that's tall like this, I guess you're very vulnerable. I've fallen in love with every state I've been to. It's just, America is a beautiful place, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I really hate that we don't love each other as Americans, that the Republicans want to own the libs, which is such a stupid concept if they only heard what they're saying. And the libs, I'm a Democrat, so I actually like the Republicans. So I don't understand it. I just don't like that people want to own me. Anyway, so I have given you how to begin at camping and how to begin at campsites and how to begin if you're boondocking, and how to conquer the new adventure that you've built for yourself, and how it just keeps growing and growing.